Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great Friday. Super excited to be here with you today. I am Todd Bookspan, for those of you who are new and don't know who I am. And I'm also joined today by none other than the CEO and founder of Mortgage Coach, Mr. Dave Savage. How are you, Dave?
I'm good, and hi, everybody. Great to be here on a Friday morning, at least Friday morning for the West Coast and noon for the East Coast. Hey, everybody.
You know, the exciting thing is that Dave and I are actually only about 3 miles apart from each other at this exact moment, but we probably won't even see each other, as sad as that is.
I was going to say, that's pretty sad, Todd, that I've been 3 miles away from you for 2 days, and we didn't figure out a way to meet for coffee or have a beer. Well, we can't let that happen again. We can't let that happen again.
No, not at all. And then we also have with us the one and only Michele Town, super producer out of California. Her and her rooster are joining us. Hey, Michele.
Hey, everybody. Nice everybody to be here.
It's a lot of fun, and I always love coming into Friday, really kind of thinking about what it is that we're all going to talk about. And the best part about it is that this is all about all of you. So here's sort of the way this rolls for those of you who are new, and then just a reminder for the rest of you. So the good news is we come together as a community every Friday just to really talk about insane productivity, talk about what we've got going on in the mortgage business and how we can help you all be more productive. And this call is always about all of you. It's not anything that we pre-plan and come in with this crazy agenda that, Michele, Dave, and I want to hit today that's going to be really important. What we want to do is feed off of all of you. And so the best calls that we have, and this is call number 20-something, I think we're about 2 dozen in, are the ones where we hear from all of you. And so you guys have the go-to meeting panel. And in the go-to meeting panel, you guys have the ability to raise your hand and ask a question and give input. And so what we would love to hear from all of you is anything that would be helpful to hear from the group, from Dave, from myself, Michele, whether it's a success story about insane productivity, whether it's a struggle you're having, something that, Darren said that just doesn't make sense to you and you haven't been able to implement, or just any other general idea that you would love to discuss. In absence of that, we're going to pick on you guys. We're going to call people out and just ask for some feedback, so be prepared. We'll kind of give you about a 15-second warning. We'll also certainly set the table with some questions. And then just remember that this is fun, right? There's no pressure. If we call on you, you're more than welcome to pass. I liked it last week. Dave did the lightning round where he called out people and got feedback, so maybe we'll bring that back as well. But I thought I would hand it over to Michele to sort of kick off, because it sounds like you guys on your team just have had some interesting conversations around the current inventory state. You mind kind of bringing the group here up to speed on what you guys are experiencing, which I think a lot of other people may be, and also just kind of how you guys are approaching it. I think that'd be great for everyone, and hopefully someone will raise their hand and kick in as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys, and thanks everybody for being a part of this. This is such a great mastermind group, and I love it because I always take something away from here and implement it, or either personally or business-wise. But we had an emergency kind of meeting. My partner and I realized that the psychology of our team over the last couple weeks has been really more of a defeated type feeling, and we wanted to find out why they were feeling that way, because Megan and I don't feel that way. We realized that we are moving forward. We're implementing everything we're supposed to do. We're not multitasking. We're, ramping up the pre-approvals. But in Southern California, we are faced with a very low inventory right now, and extremely low, where we're having 8, 10, 12 buyers go in on one house. It's on the open. Doesn't even get to open house, and the realtors already have it sold. So we asked a couple of pointed questions of, why do you feel that, because we pre-approved the client, why do you feel that we're not productive? And what we found is that most of our team, and most of us, and especially me too, to us, it's a closed deal when it closes, right? So a pre-approval is great, but the closed loan is when we all get paid. It's when we make our commissions. It's when they make their bonuses. So we worked with them a lot yesterday for about 2 hours after hours. We wanted to do it after hours to kind of make it fun, and just really, showed them, what we're looking at. So for instance, when the inventory finally does pop, and it will because it always does, we've got $20 to $30 million of business that's going to come in. So I tell them, hey, yes, we're doing a lot of work up front now, but remember that this is all going to come, and we just have to be a little bit more patient in this market. The second thing that we're dealing with is right now, and I refuse to be a part of this, and it happens, is that the industry as a whole becomes very cutthroat. And sometimes the bad part of people come out and decide. So we are really working on not participating in that, where if we lose a deal, we're going to lose a deal with grace. And that is really hard sometimes when you put 6 months worth of work into a file and you've rescored them, you've spent all this money on them, and then somebody comes up and beats you by 1/8 of a point in rate and they go. So we're really working on making sure that our value proposition to our clients, how they understand that we're closing the loans in 15 days with grace. We're making the process easy for them, how that has a value. So I'm interested to hear from anybody if they're feeling the same thing, and how do you guys deal with it?
So, folks,
I love that.
So, folks, feel
Dave.
free to either post in questions, where you're at on that, or raise your hand, and Todd and I will unmute you. So we'll see if we get some engagement. So far, I don't see any hands up, but we'll pull on someone if we need to.
Let me ask you a quick question, Michele. So what I love is you said you guys are ready to close in 15 days. So that tells me that you guys are doing some serious preparation ahead of time in advance to put your clients in a great position for when they put in an offer. What does that look like?
Correct. So we have, our company has a program called the Home On Time Advance Approval Guarantee. So if we have a client that comes in and is willing to give us every single piece of work we need, so we're going to basically underwrite the file up front. We underwrite the file, and then we put a guarantee of a 15-day close on that, where the bank will deliver in 15 days, and we deliver on time, every time, anytime. And we use that slogan with our realtors as well. We've actually started a really big pitch with our realtors of, everybody's closing on time right now, but we put it a little bit step further. Because they're approved, we're allowing our offers to submit with no loan contingencies up front. So the only thing they have to worry about is an appraisal and inspection. So when you're in a multiple counter offer situation and you've got 8 people bidding on it, we won 2 weeks ago. We won 3 deals because we picked up the phone, called the listing agent, explained to them, and we executed and closed 14 days, 15 days, and 15 days on all 3 of those deals. They're closed now.
See, I think that's huge, and I would, my thought always comes around is, your company may not have a fancy branded name program like that, but you as a loan officer always have the ability to step it up, have your clients ready that direction, certainly pick up the phone and call the listing agent. What's inventory like for you? I've got one client somewhere in Northern California who said there was 12 homes last month on the market in his county, which just seems ridiculous. Here in Arizona, the only challenge that we're seeing is people trying to buy below about $250. If it's a redone house that's priced right, there's multiple multiple offers pretty quick. But overall, the inventory is in dire areas, or dire like it is in some other areas.
Our inventory here in Southern California, the South Orange County, the broker preview on Wednesday introduced 12 new properties. I mean, we are 50% below what we should be at right now. And what we're hearing from the realtors, so one of the beautiful things, this is a great conversation piece for your realtors. So if any of you are afraid to pick up that phone and talk to your realtors because you think you're selling them something, you're not. I call them and say, hey, how's the inventory going for you? And we actually talk about a conversation, and what I'm hearing is that the sellers don't want to sell because they can't find a replacement property. So that's when I get in their head and say, how can I help you convince your seller to get off the sell? Can we do a more non-contingent offer, or a contingency period where they wait for them to find that replacement property? Or can we do a bridge loan? Or can we do a home equity line to pull money out? Anything that I can do. And it just is a great conversation piece for your realtor, because you've now invested your time into them to help them brainstorm, and they love it. And I love it because I get a feedback on what's going on in my community.
Hey Michele, are you, hey, real quick if I could, Michele, are you ever providing kind of a move-up analysis where you're showing them how you're going to help create some urgency to move up and using that strategy with the TCA? Is that something that you're doing at all right now?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things that we did, and I would encourage anybody, I mean, I have no original ideas. I take an idea, tweak it to me, and I share it with anybody that will use it. So we are doing for some of our move-up buyer, so we have two buyer programs that we do. We do one, which is the brand new first-time home buyer. We do a rent versus own, and the three scenarios that we use are the rent, we use the current market, and then we use a projected half-point increase in the next 6 months in interest rates, because that's probably what we're going to see. And we show the realtor and we show the buyer what it's going to cost for them to wait. Then on a move-up buyer, we do the same thing. We take their current payment, the equity position they have, reinvesting that into a new house now, and then we do a year analysis out of what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to share something that one of my colleagues does here at RPM, which I thought was brilliant. A lot of us will face people thinking, you know, right now we're in that weird time where inventory, because rates are going up, inventory is low, people are stuck. They're like, oh, we're not going to ever be able to buy, or we're not going to ever be able to do anything because they're so stuck on that interest rate where we've bridged over that 3% rate. We're in that 4%, so we're in that weird, funky time where everybody's so focused on the rate, not the payment. So what she did was she did an analysis. She did 10 years ago what interest rates were, today what interest rates were, and then a projection of what they're going to be in another 2 to 3 years. And that presentation like knocked the socks off of me, because 10 years ago rates were 6. Today rates are 4. A year from now rates are going to be 5. And it really kind of took the emphasis off the rate and put it back on the payment. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah. Hey, any chance that you wouldn't mind sharing a sample link in the Facebook group on those strategies, so anyone that wants to take a deeper look? I mean, I think we've talked about it before, and I think you've shared some links, but it was several months ago, and any chance you could put something in there so anybody who wants to check that out after the call can do it?
I can, and if everybody will wait to give me the weekend, because I am, thank you, Dave, going to be doing 3 video presentations. I usually do voiceovers, so I'll do the video presentations. I'll post them all on Facebook. Okay,
yeah, no, well, you know, good. Guys, check it out on Monday, and then maybe we'll make that a follow-up item if anybody has any questions or comments on that. By the way, Michele, John had a question. You had mentioned a special program that you're doing. What was the name of that? You know, you had a title, a name of it, and he wanted to know what was the name you called that program. This is about 5 minutes ago.
Our program name is called the Home on Time Advance Approval Guarantee. And Todd Duncan was the one who made me put that guarantee word in there. So our branding of it is called the Home on Time Advance Approval, but Todd helped me understand that the guarantee was what really kind of sways people, because we are going to guarantee that your loan closes in 15 days. So if you don't have something like this, I'm going to share something else that I did. So Movement Mortgage has this incredible rescue loan program that they do. Obviously, they've branded that, so I don't use that name, but I call mine the emergency program. It's basically my advance approval dressed up to look like an emergency loan program, where I tell my agents if their buyer, I don't use cross-call, advance approves with our company, your seller knows that if the lender cannot perform, we will be able to come in and close in 15 days. So we don't want to take the client away from any loan officer, because we realize how much hard work it is. But if for some reason they're not able to perform, their seller knows now that we can close that loan within the period of time to close.
Good. And by the way, just as you answered that, which you did a great job of doing, Lazar just asked, what is the guarantee if they don't close on time? I think you've mentioned that in the past, but if you could just net that out real quick for Lazar.
Sure, Lazar, that's a great question. So We will waive any lender fees that or that are done based on that, because that's all we can do, RESPA compliant. But I will tell you, we have, as a company, we post it. We are 99% as a company-wide, and we have over 203 agents. When they go through this advanced approval, we're 99% success rate. The 1% success rate that we have not hit, or the 1%, I don't want to call it a failure, that we've missed, have all been due to either an appraisal condition coming up at the last minute, or one of them was a VA, because the VA appraiser called out something and had to go out. But I mean, that's how successful this program is. The company culture of where I work is that they don't miss closing dates, period. It is not an option, and we really strive not to do that.
Love it, love it. So this has been awesome. Again, if you have questions, keep them coming. I do want to make sure that anybody has questions on the Insane Productivity Program. If you have those, let us know. Also, I just launched a poll trying to find out what module everybody is on. So the faster everybody votes, the better. Please let us know, are you at 1 through 4, going through 5 through 8, 9 through 12, kind of in the home stretch? Or are you going through the program again? 50% of you have voted. This is a mastermind. That means everybody must participate. So please just click this button and let Michele, Todd, and myself know where you guys are at. So, Michele, go ahead, Todd.
Let me throw two things in here, and then I see Katie Pastor has her hand up, so we'll unmute you in one moment, and appreciate you jumping in. But the thing I would say is that what I loved that you heard Michele say is that she's rebranded something that another company has and made it her own, right? You guys have the ability, whether your company has a program like this or not, to come in and brand a process, right? Sell yourself this way. You've got to build the process in order to do it, but it's not something that you can't do. And you heard, I loved what Michele said. I didn't want to do a Dave Savage and put it into Facebook, because then that would have been mean to Michele. But I love, she said, I have no original ideas, and I think the same way. I don't think most of us do, right? Swipe and adapt is such a great piece of the mortgage industry. And so I would just tell you to take an idea like that and figure out how you can integrate it into your own mortgage practice and run with it. So I love that Michele shared that, and then also talked about how she's taken other ideas and made her own, whether it was her colleague who did that great comparison of 10 years ago to now to a couple years down the road, the emergency rescue loan program. I mean, all these things are great, and I would just encourage you all to think about how you can come up with something like that. I'm going to go back here and find Katie, and I'm going to unmute you right now.
Katie, I have unmuted you, by the way.
Katie, we're ready. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Katie.
Perfect. Okay, good. So I was just going to say to Michele that I have certainly run into the same issue as far as inventory goes. And as it relates to your team and just kind of keeping them motivated, I have these conversations with my team pretty regularly. For the most part, they do a good job, but I always remind them, why we're really here. So what's the reason why we continue to cultivate these relationships, and why we continue to, reach out to our clients and follow up and blah, blah, blah. And it's really just because we want to get them into a new home. So a lot of times we focus on that transaction closing, and we get discouraged when, they're not getting their offers accepted, but it really is. We have to remember at the end of the day, it's about them owning a home and, cherishing that relationship. So I think when we take it from that perspective, it's just it's a better perspective than, getting their offer accepted. So I don't know if you find that helpful, but it's just something that we try and do, like I said, pretty regularly with our team, is just remembering why we're here. The other thing that I wanted to say is I've actually started walking neighborhoods with some of my realtors, and our intention really is to let them know that we have buyers and to see if they would be interested in, finding out what their home is worth, and are you considering selling, because we really do have, buyers that are out there. So that's been helpful for me. I've been able to pick up some realtors that way because they know I'm willing to, walk with them. And I've even, told borrowers that if you tell your realtor exactly what you're looking for, if you know a neighborhood that you want to be in, then we'll send letters to me and the realtor. We'll send letters to that homeowner asking if they'd be interested in selling because we do have a buyer for them. So hopefully that's helpful. I know it's kind of late in the conversation that I'm suggesting that, but hopefully you'll find value in that.
I love that. So you're really going and knocking on doors?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, so you're really going around and knocking on doors? That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yep, we're getting out there, and I will say it's kind of fearful, but like I said, once I take the perspective of I'm really here to add value to you, because who doesn't want to know what their home is truly worth? So once I kind of keep that into perspective and not have it be about, let's get your home sold so that I get another deal, like I said, I have the attitude of how am I going to add value to you, and how am I going to, get you to want to work with us? So, yeah.
No, I think that's super impressive. And what market are you in, Katie?
I'm in Northern California, so the Sacramento market.
All right, so you guys are one of those crazy markets as well.
Yeah.
I'd love. So what's current inventory then look like in your area?
We probably see, so similar to Michele, we probably see, I've got one that is competing, price points about $390, and there's eight offers total on that property. So that's pretty standard. And then of course, as we get into the $280 price point and below, we're looking at double-digit offers on those homes.
That's just, I don't miss those days of insanity. And Arizona was that way a number of years back when the hedge funds were all buying. But it sounds like you guys are having a good time. And I love the fact that you're motivating your people. I cut you off, Michele. What were you going to say?
I was going to tell her it's never too late to ask a question ever or answer a question, because I love the participation and I love your ideas. I think that's incredible. Good. If you have much more, I don't know if I could, again, that would be a fear factor for me to walk through and actually walk a neighborhood. I haven't done that in a long time, so my hat is totally off to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Katie, where are you at in Insane Productivity?
I had just completed Module 2, and we'll be starting Module 3 this weekend.
That's awesome. What's your favorite part so far?
The jam session for sure has been really, really valuable, and I implemented that this week. And even when I'm out walking, that's my jam session, because I'm on that's my purpose, is to that's when I'm doing what I need to do for me to hit my goals. And yeah, that's been great. I tried to do it 3 times this week. I think one time I needed about 45 minutes, so we go to the whole 90. But yeah, I love the concept, I love the idea, and I sure feel more productive when I'm doing that than you really control me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What did you have to add there, Dave?
Oh, when I heard Katie doing that, and I heard Michele say how fearful that would be, which, by the way, I'm right there with you. I mean, that really takes a level of passion, commitment. I'm sure there's some people that's like easy to do, but for most people it's not, myself included. But this morning, I always, I read and I try to pump myself up every morning. And this morning I watched this little 5-minute video on how to be confident, and I liked it. I loved it. It was kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm going to watch this with my kids, and then I'm like, oh, I think I'll share it on Facebook. And I just thought it would be a good share right now, because it really kind of gives some wisdom in a fun way on overcoming fears and just getting after it. So I just posted that in our group as a strategy to overcome fear. I'm not going to steal any thunder from the message. I would just urge everybody on the call to watch this little 5-minute video. I think you'll get some value from it.
Awesome. All right, now I got a little homework now. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that.
It's only 5 minutes.
it's always good to hear jam session come up, because I still think that that's one of the biggest areas for lift for all of us in the mortgage business, is learning to just own that concept and implement it consistently. I think that's the hardest part, is getting going and making it a habit and getting it in there. Love to hear from any of you. I see some veterans in this group today on sort of anything you could add to the group on how you overcame some of your challenges on implementing them and where you're at on it. I still didn't read the thing on the Pomodoro method yet that you posted. That's my other homework, Dave. Yeah,
no problem. It's like a 2-minute read. But by the way, I did want to give you a heads up that Nicole Francis has a question that she's posted. Let's go ahead and I'll leave it to you, Todd, when table that question that Nicole has and bring in some of the other folks. I just want to make sure you hadn't missed it.
I totally missed it, so I appreciate that. I see people who are stuck. I'm hoping that we can, why don't we unmute Nicole and have her ask her question, if that's okay, Nicole. Thank you so much, Katie. I'm going to put you back on mute, and feel free to raise your hand and join back in later. We appreciate the contribution.
And Nicole, I have unmuted you. So
can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So my question, and this kind of goes back to what Michele kicked off with, thanks, Michele, but it is like, it's kind of a weird year. And so and it's really hard as salespeople, I think, to not value your self-worth directly tied to your production. So I'm in a great mood this week has been fantastic. I originated, a handful of deals. Last week, I was a little bit down because I only originated one loan and then he canceled. And so, this is about being super productive and about doing everything we can. But how do you I want to know how you do that, and also not tie your self-worth directly to your production and, get upset when, not everything is working out. And how do you stay motivated to generate, the wanting to, step forward and help. And, part of that, I think, comes into like the rest and recovery thing. But I'd like to just, putting it out there, but then giving yourself time to rest and saying, maybe this is a sign to take a break when things aren't working out. But I'd love to see how other people deal with that.
Wow, that's a
love
big
that.
question.
All right, Michele, she asked that of you, so go for it, Michele.
Okay. Hey, Nicole. Nice to hear from you again. So I'll start with the how do I not let it get me down? I would love to tell you it doesn't get me down, but it does. There are times where I'm the one that needs the mental break. Sometimes when I feel like I've worked my rear end off over the last 7, 10, 15 days and nothing's coming of it, I will actually break and tell the team, hey, I'm going to go dark for the rest of the day, which means they can't access me via phone, email, computer, and I'll go do something I love, because I always find when I go do something that I love, that's for me, where nobody's taking from me, and because sometimes this job you always feel like everybody's taking, everybody wants something from you. So I'll go brush my horses, get on one of my horses. Sometimes I might watch TV for a little bit, and I always come back from that so refreshed and so back in perspective and thanking myself or thanking this job, because I'm thankful that I have what I have. I'm thankful this rooster next door is rooster crowing every 5 seconds. Those are the things that make my life happy. And then I go back and put my work hat on and go back to work. But one of the things in a down market, I actually strive in down markets very well, because I have a significant amount of drive that drives me to just succeed, because I have a team that relies on me. And sometimes that pressure builds up where it gets too much, and again, that's when I know I need to take a couple of days off. I don't know if that helps you, but I try not to let others dictate my happiness, because let's face it, I've been very fortunate. I think it's not just luck. I think it's skill, it's timing. There's a lot of things that happen, but I think if you just, I'm from recovery, so I put one foot in front of the other sometimes and just trust in God that it's going to pay out the way it's supposed to be.
That's awesome. I think, just being grateful to be in the position to pause and go do what you love that's great perspective, actually. It's just being grateful. That's absolutely right. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hey,
By the way,
oh, go ahead, Michele.
Well, I have to say one thing. I think my rooster's talking to your bird.
Totally. I know. I could hear your rooster. That was funny.
That is fantastic. And I hope everybody got that takeaway. I mean, to really get into a state of gratefulness, I mean, it solves so many problems in life. So that's cool. I think this is a good chance, Todd, for some rapid fire, because I would just love to hear a few folks just rapid fire out. What do you do, to kind of overcome any challenges you have or lack of production? If you want to raise your hand, and we'll unmute you and bring you into the conversation. And if you don't, we're going to just pick on people. Let's see, Todd. Let's see what JC Coleman. I don't know if you've ever had that feeling and you've connected your confidence and your worth to production, but what do you do to get out of a rut or to fly through it?
Wow. Thanks for calling on me. It's so interesting that this whole subject came up because the last week been really weird here too. 58% of all purchases were done in cash in our market, and we've just been really slow. And I've been down on myself, and I'm kind of the driver of the team and trying to keep them motivated, but at the same time, I wasn't motivating myself at all, just kind of giving and giving and giving, trying to keep everybody else going until it finally came to a head. But like everybody has said, I kind of stop, I put on the brakes, and I go out in the mountains, ride my snowmobile, or go skiing or something of that nature. And then, my higher power did something for me this past Tuesday. I was riding my snowmobile, got really stuck, lost my phone in the snow, never to be found till summer. So the last 3 days I've been without that main tether to your business, and it's been really interesting, very enlightening. It forced me to disconnect and really think about who I am as a person versus, tying myself to my business worth, because I get in that rut as well. I start thinking, oh my God, my production is down, I'm a loser, and, all of these things start going through your head. And again, taking that list of gratitude and saying, everything's pretty darn good in my world. Just because we're having a slump doesn't mean I'm a loser there.
Love it, man. I think everybody could relate and really appreciate the transparency and the story you're going through. I think that's therapeutic for everybody just to hear it. And I wish I could go snowmobiling right now. I'm kind of jealous. Sounds fun.
Just come out. We're not that far away.
Yeah, right?
Dave, it's going to be 80 here in Scottsdale today, so I'm not quite sure, that's not bad.
Yeah, right? Right. Well, hey, JC, thanks for sharing. I'm going to put you back on mute. If you have another question or a comment, raise your hand or post it. Hey, Todd, what are your thoughts? Should we call on someone else, or do you have anything else to share? Or Michele, do you have anything else to share on this topic?
I think we need to change it from picking on people. We got to change our wording there. I think we just have to say we're going to empower people to add value to the community, so that people understand that we're not necessarily picking on them. I think we should do a little more rapid fire. It seems to me that when we open up that window, we seem to get great feedback from everyone, and that great feedback we get tends to drive the conversation. I think it's actually really great to hear from people how they're dealing with adversity.
I love it. Love it. So, Jeff Davis, you have been empowered to contribute, and tell us what you're doing to overcome adversity. Jeff. All right, Jeff, you're going to lose your open mic opportunity to and your empowerment in a second. You there, buddy? All right. Let's see who else we should call on. Michael Goin. What's up, Michael? You've been empowered. What are you doing to overcome adversity and crush it even when it's kind of like in a slump? Todd, I don't know if your empowerment idea was like we were
apparently it's not working. That's not good. That is not good at all. I think it's an interesting topic, and I don't know. I guess it probably does scare some people to share and be vulnerable about it.
Hey, Todd, we got some raised hands. Let me unmute Ed, and then Scott Morris, you're next. Edward, what's up? What are you doing? You've been empowered.
Thank you. I thought I just didn't like the silence, so I thought I'd step in. I'm in a different place. I'm just coming back into the business after a long drought, doing something else, and so I'm struggling to get new real estate agents, contacts, connecting again, and going through Darren's Insane Productivity. I'm in week 8, so the 20-second rule, I like that in terms of, the things that I have an aversion to or that scare you, that picking the phone up, talking to some stranger, or it's kind of like when I used to hang glide or skydive. I know that feeling, but what I felt like after was elation. So I just kind of put myself in that position. I just pick the phone up and dial before I can think about it, and you calm down, and yourself comes out.
Come here, baby.
You do it, and it's easier that way. So I've been utilizing I don't know if it's, I don't want to pick out a specific product, but I've been using list reports because it's something I can give to the agent as an added value. And I pay for it, but it's a different approach, and I do 5 a day new listings that come out. I send it to them, and it's a report that they can put on their Facebook, or it has its own internet, and it's really a good tool to aid them without their having to pay for it. So it's kind of like you're giving something to them, and it is a good tool to allow them to also take in leads and work off of that. So I found that to be an easy one. I do 5 a day. I send them out, and then I call them the next day. So I'm sending out 5 a day and calling 5 new agents every day. And it's been working out.
I love that. And I think that's a great reminder that, gratitude is a powerful attitude motivator, but getting after it and doing something that you're doing that's giving value to people that are important business folks, nothing like action, getting after it and contributing with value. I mean, that is, that'll get you out of a rut. Even if you don't get a loan, at least you delivered some value. So I love that. Coach Todd, anything to add to what Edward just shared?
Well, no, what I love what he said is that, I love anytime you've got a tool, regardless of what that tool is. And I do think that helps overcome that call reluctance if you've got a reason to call. And to me, sometimes it can just be a script about something that's going on in the market. It can be encouragement. I also find that, if you're in a market where it's tough for you as a loan originator, think how it's tough for the realtors and to call them and encourage them, I think is great. So appreciate you raising your hand, and let's keep moving through these hands that are up while they're up.
Yeah, right on. Hey, we're gonna put you back on mute, Edward. Thanks again for sharing.
Thank you.
And yeah, right on. And Scott, I have unmuted you. You have been empowered. What do you got, my friend?
I got lots. Thanks for having me in the group. I just want to first say that this is every week I go through some ups and downs, as everybody is, with the difficulty of the market. And this call every Friday I look forward to because it's truly inspirational. It gets me always back on track to, hey, you got to, look at your daily your 12 weekly reminders, your daily whys, and your big 3 goals. So hitting on that, I too am, I look at production as a yearly goal. And while I'm not on track to meet my production goal this year, I'm maybe 30% behind it. It doesn't feel good, just like Nicole mentioned. So what I do to counter that is I remember, hey, that's a yearly goal, that's production, but if you don't make the calls and you don't meet the realtors and you don't try to connect with your current realtors and bring them value and ask them for referrals of a new realtor who could use some help, then you're not going to meet your production goals anyway. So what I do is I try to do things that make me feel good every day. And I have this production, or this going through Insane Productivity and joining this group is giving me an unbelievably clear picture of what I want to do and giving the roadmap of how to get there. So I made a goal this year. I'm going to have a meaningful face-to-face meeting with a realtor every week. And I put together for myself a Partners First program to where this is what we're using, the technology we're using. This is our goal for communication, much like the 2-day close that Michele mentioned. We're bringing that program out. We want to partner with our realtors in community events. Those things make them feel good. It makes me feel good. And I'm meeting my goal every week, where I've met somebody every week. And the interesting thing is they're all telling me the same thing. They're telling Michele that inventory is down 50%. It's 50% below the normal. Part of it's the time of year. Part of it's the market. And we've got to do things to help them get their business going. And what I found is I've met with a realtor this week. Where I have and I'm also inspired by my team. I've just started a team in the last few months, and I'm helping them learn the business, train them on the sales techniques that you've learned through all these years of doing it. But they're also helping me and training me on the millennials and what you need to do social media-wise. So we had a meeting. We have a meeting on Monday with a good realtor of mine. He's a $90 million producer. He said, "Man, I'm so inspired by your attitude. I want to meet with you, understand what you're doing." And I said, "Well, let's take a look at your social media." And we looked at it, and he said, "My social media is non-existent." So I'm going to go Monday with my millennial guy. We're going to sit down for half an hour. We're going to help him tune up his social media, his Facebook and his LinkedIn, how to use it, what to do, what to post, where to post. And that makes me feel great. And it makes him feel great. And he's, when I talked to him this week, he gave me a lead, qualified a guy, and the guy had a collection, so I can't quite get him in, which didn't make me feel good. I can't get his loan going because he was set to go, and then he unfroze his credit, and it was not good. So, but I felt good about making the connection, get the guy's loan app, and getting a meaningful meeting for next week. And then now my goal is to get one for the week after that, or maybe have 2 next week. So at the end of the day, the market is the market. You can't really change it, but what you can do is make yourself feel good about it by calling those borrowers you haven't touched base with in 3 weeks, give them an update on interest rates, asking them for if they have any friends or family who are buying a house or want to remodel a house. Those are things that I'm doing to make sure what I call money busy instead of busy. So thank you for that. Let me speak.
Yeah, hey, thanks for contributing. I love that metaphor, money busy versus busy. I used the quote, I don't know where I heard it, but there's a difference between busyness and business, so that was awesome. And then I also really loved how you showcased the 12 reminders. I did post that, everybody, on the Facebook page. If you haven't already downloaded the 12 reminders, get grateful, remember the Insane Productivity reminders, and get out there and contribute. It reminds me of a quote. I don't know where I heard it or who said it, but it's like, don't complain, contribute. And even though everybody on this call is a leader, we have to self-manage. And maybe we're not complaining outside, but if we catch ourselves complaining inside, just it's all about contribution and contribute. The more we give, the more we get. And
yeah, one more thing, Dave. One part of I meet every realtor I meet with is I bring my computer, my laptop, and my phone, and I show them the loan and total cost analysis and the move-up buyer and the rent-to-own, so I can tell them, look, the numbers don't lie. Here's what we're doing to help your clients understand it and want to say yes. Our job is to get them to be comfortable and educated so they want to buy a house, so they say yes. And that's a big piece of my presentation, so I want to give you that plug because I am using it. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, well, that makes me sure happy. I would love a picture of that. You know, we're always looking for Mortgage Coach in the real world, driving value to agents and buyers. So if you could ever get a photo of that, we would put that on our Instagram page if you ever get the opportunity, man.
I'll get next meeting I have. I'll get that.
All right. Hey, I really appreciate that, Scott. Great contribution. So Nicole Francis, you started a really cool topic. I think a lot of great contributions. I unmuted you if you want to. You know, did we crush that for you? And anything you want to add after hearing all the perspectives, Nicole?
No, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, starting out with the gratitude, and then also just, you know, the idea of continuing to add value and, you know, just give, and using Insane Productivity and using the tools we have to do that, you know, is really, it's really a gift. And you know, using some of the methodology in Insane Productivity is really helpful too, like taking breaks, like Michele says, she goes dark. That's all really good stuff because you do need to step back. And you know, the other thing too is that if you are really only focused, this is just kind of getting back to the Insane Productivity thing, I ask myself this question anytime I'm entering into an activity now, if it's part of one of my vital functions. And what I've realized lately is that those have shifted a little bit, and as you grow, those can change. And so I was trying to force, like, you know, a certain amount of prospecting when what I really needed to do is, you know, work on structurings for the team. And so really just noticing what those vital functions are, and then just being okay with not doing the other stuff, and, you know, take the break. And yeah, that's really good perspective. It's hitting home for sure. So thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you, Nicole. You brought up a great topic. Keep contributing. Keep asking questions. Thank you very much. And Michele Town, we have not heard your leadership for a while. A lot of folks have shared since you last jumped in. Anything you want to add? Any color? Any takeaways that came to mind?
I think everybody has such great things. This is why I love this community, because we do share so many ideas. And when we hit on a topic that really hits home, everybody, I mean, I just want to impress again. I say this every time, but I promise you, what you're thinking in your head, one of us is thinking as well. I use Insane Productivity. Like, I live it. I just got into an argument with my sister because she was 30 minutes late, so I left. So I just remember Darren going, you got 15 minutes, you got a 15-minute grace period. After 15 minutes, I'm gone. And it's nothing bad. But she's not as receptive as his friends are. So that's just family. But I'm doing the ludicrous portion of Insane Productivity right now. So I just started it, and it's pretty inspiring. I'm like, wow. But one of the things that he's talking about right now is if we do not change because of our millennials, we are going to be left in the dust. So although I grew up and I'm 49 now, technology is that's not my number one thing, but I've got to start shifting to it. So I've got a lot of homework to start doing about getting a little bit more comfortable and better at texting with 2 fingers instead of, you know, 1 finger.
Love that, man. That's so awesome. So, hey, Todd, I'm going to hand it back to you to kind of close out the call. I do want to remind folks, at least my one homework assignment for today after hearing the topic and where everybody's at is I think this 5-minute video, I think everybody will get value, you know, and it's just a good reminder. To me, again, I'm not going to steal thunder from the 5-minute video, but the content within it is just you know, if you want to stay humble, stay hungry, and have fun and be brave, I think it's a great playbook, and it's very on topic. So, Todd, I'm going to kind of shut up for the rest of the call, let you close it out, and If anybody else does have a question, I'm sure Todd will field it if you ask it. Todd?
Awesome. Well, I would definitely love anyone else to ask a question, because the last thing you all want to hear me do is talk for 9 straight minutes. But what I do want to say is thanks. I love the rapid fire thing. I think maybe next week we should start it a little sooner, because it seems to me every time that we let you guys, we force you guys, we empower you guys, sorry, that's the new word, empower you guys to contribute to the community, it seems like we pick up a great direction that takes us through most, if not all, of the call. And so I think that that's something that we'll do. I would love your guys' feedback on, on that part. And, the fun part is the different perspectives that we get. You guys are all from different parts of the country. You all have different types of businesses. To hear Scott talking about, how he is using social media as an inroad to a $90 million producer, to me that's really empowering, because I think that that's one of the challenges in any market, whether you're killing it this year or whether you're not. It's always great to hear someone else who is taking a chance, because oftentimes someone who's a $90 million producer is the last person most of us will think to call, because we're all thinking that $90 million producer has it all together, and here's someone instead who opened the door for Scott and a team member to come in and educate him on something that most of us are taking for granted in 2017, social media. And so I would be looking for those opportunities, right? We heard someone else talk about, list reports as a way to open the door, using Mortgage Coach as a way to open the door. And so just be thinking through, if you're worried about your business because your market's crazy, just know that everyone else around you is having most of those same thoughts, sometimes crazier thoughts than your thoughts. And so again, I think just that idea of calling people up, I love the idea of gratitude, just thanking them for the business and checking in to see how they're doing. I think you'll find that that'll get you, pretty far in this market. And I think as we go through Insane Productivity, it gives you other ideas, right? You always just have something to call someone about, whether, you're just starting off and you just did your first jam session. What a great opportunity to call some of your referral partners and educate them on who Darren is. I'm always sort of shocked, maybe some of you had this too, where I'll talk to someone who I consider to be a business leader, and I'll say, oh, Darren Hardy, and they go, who? And so I am always a little bit surprised by that, but it's a great opportunity for me to educate them, tell them about Darren daily, invite them to be part of Darren's community, which he always appreciates. And I think that it's just an opportunity for you to educate, because what you'll find is that people will hear about that. I talk a lot about the fact that since I've gotten out of production into coaching, I've got a 23-year-old kid that's running my former production pipeline. And a realtor that's known me for a couple of years, when he told him that I was doing Insane Productivity again, I mean, she called me up and said, hey, help me understand what this Insane Productivity thing is. And so I said, awesome, well, come on over. And so we set up a time. In this case, she wanted to hear from me. So at the risk of sounding like a jerk, I had her drive over to my office instead of me meeting her somewhere else. But again, it brought her in. She was able to come in the office. There was a picture, probably a few months ago, of my Insane Productivity wall where I had my notes from every module. Literally, it was, I think, probably 4 feet by 8 feet, all those giant Post-it notes for each module thrown together. And I brought her in, and I just kind of walked her through, hey, here's just some of the key ideas and the things that we've all discussed. And it's funny, she called me the other day just to thank me again for that time, because she was able to implement some of the ideas. She overcame her fear. She had been at the same company that wasn't helping her grow. She switched companies now because of partially as a result of that conversation. And so it's hard not to remember and not to remind ourselves that you guys have so much value to add out there if you just take just a couple of minutes to reflect on what you're going through and figure out who else it is that you could possibly share that with. And so my big encouragement when you go through times like this, and I love the idea that you got to kind of look at it as a year-long journey, because tends to be, when I look back on 15 years of mortgage production, it seems like there's always 2 months a year that kind of stink. It always seems like there's 2 months a year that are just super, super crazy, and then there's 8 months that are, kind of in this range that are, really solid months. And I just never know whether those bad months are going to be at the beginning or at the end, or whether they're going to be consecutive or different. But I do know that it's been consistency when we're doing the activities that Darren talks about doing, when we're proactive and not reactive. It just seems that when we get to the end of the year, the team consistently puts up those numbers because they're doing those activities. And so I just think that we're really fortunate as a group that we've got so many of us that come together every week. We can continue to learn from each other, and the more that you guys raise your hand, the more that you guys are willing to be vulnerable out there, then the less I get to talk, which is a good thing. And I think the more value that we can get from each other. And so I'm pretty excited that this call turned out to be a great call. Anything, Dave or Michele, that you guys want to add before we release people to go out and have some fun today?
I will.
Go ahead, Michele.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I'll be
you,
quick.
Dave.
I'll go quick. I do want to remind everybody that we post the recording. So, this week will be week 23 of this program. Thank you to everyone who asked a question, who engaged. Thanks for everybody who came, but special thanks for those who engaged. Keep that coming, and this will be posted by tomorrow. And if you do have topics, I've been getting crickets, when I post this, but I do encourage folks, when you come to this call, come with the thought that you want to come and contribute. And the best way to contribute is to ask a great question and be prepared to, share your story. So hopefully next week when I post this, it won't be, complete crickets. And hopefully you guys take action on some of the ideas that were talked about today. And then, Michele, I'll let you close it out.
I'll just close it out. I call it the 4 Gs. Grace, gratitude equals growth, which equals greatness. And if you can remember that, your business is going to go far.
Well, you know what I'm going to say, Michele. You got to post that. Remind it. That's a cool one. I'm going to remember it.
I got to come up with some catchy sayings, Dave. I'm telling you, man, you're just killing it, Michele. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a very, my coach is she softens me, so she brings a lot of grace and gratitude into my life. So I thank her so much.
Well, thanks for playing it forward, Michele. You bring a lot of grace and gratitude to our community. So awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, what do you think? I think, Dave, it's a wrap. As Dave said, thank you all for being here first and foremost. Definitely special thanks to everyone who contributed, and we will be here same time, same place next Friday, and look forward to adding value. In the meantime, if any of us can be any help, just reach out. We're happy to help in any way that we can.
Yeah. Go ahead and vote. Give us some feedback on the way out on a scale of awesome to great to just okay. Let us know how this call was for you, and be honest, be candid with us. We want to know. Have an awesome weekend, everybody.
All right. Thanks all.